Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 2, Lesson 4, Lesson Quattro, Dosi Quattro 2.4. This is bilingual math today. All right, today we're going to be talking about multiplying rational numbers. So that means multiplying fractions and decimals. Hopefully you remember it a little bit. If not, we'll cover it today. Hope you're excited because I am. Yeehaw! Let's go. Pause now. Don't pause. So we have 5 warm-ups. What you are doing is you are writing each number as an improper fraction. So on these, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So write each number as an improper fraction. Now you can pause and try these. All right, so if you look at these, you have 2 and 1/3. Remember, with these, you are multiplying going down and you are add coming up. Okay, so you have to take 2 times 3 and then add that 1 on the other side. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. You get 7/3. Same thing, multiply going down, add coming up. You get 15/8. Your denominator stays the same. Next one, number 3. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17, and it's going to be 17/5. Denominators stay the same. Denominators stay the same. Denominators stay the same. Next, 6 2/3, multiply going down, add coming up, and you get 20/3. Denominators stay the same. Next one, again, multiply going down, add coming up. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 3 is 43, all over 8. Okay, say it with me now. Denominators stay the same. Awesome. Okay, so these are your answers that you're going to be doing. Today we will be converting things from mixed numbers into improper fractions, just to make it a little bit easier when we're multiplying. So I hope you're ready to go with this. Next, here we go. Okay, multiplying fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals. Okay, so even though we are now multiplying with fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals, does not mean you forget the rules for multiplying numbers with positive and negative numbers. Okay, if you look at this, if two numbers have the same sign, positive and negative, if you're multiplying the same signs, your answer is going to be positive. If you're multiplying different signs, your answer is negativo. All right, so let's try a few. First one is we have -8 times 6/7. I'm going to give you a moment to write this down, then I will talk about it. Make sure that you write down your directions. It is important to write down that directions. Okay, so pause now to write that down. Okay, now we are going to do the biggest thing when you start multiplying by fractions is what is your numerators and what is your denominators. Okay, so we have 6/7 for sure, but -8 has a denominator. What is the denominator on -8? It is 1. Okay, all numbers, so numbers like 4 have a denominator of 1. It's 4/1. The number 3 has a denominator of 1, 3/1. The number 127 has a denominator of 1. Okay, they're all the exact same. So what you do is you plug it over 1, and now you just multiply straight across. You multiply -8 times 6, which is a -48, all over 1 times 7, which is 7. Now, I am okay with you leaving it as an improper fraction like this. However, I know some of you want to change this into a mixed number. You can do that. If you change that into a mixed number, it would be a -6 and 6/7, because you just divide 48 by 7 to get -6 and 6/7. If you want to know how to change it into a mixed number, please come up to me tomorrow and ask. Otherwise, again, I am perfectly fine with you leaving it as -48/7. Okay? Okay, let's keep going. All right, so now we have 2 times 5 and 1/3. This is a tricky one. You're multiplying, but tell me how this is different from the last problem. Say it out loud. I hope you said, I couldn't hear it because my ears were clogged, but I hope you said that this is a mixed number. We have a mixed number here. okay, rather than a fraction. So we do the exact same thing of taking 2 over 1, except this time, like we did in our warm-ups, we actually have to find the improper fraction of this. Okay, so you take that 5, multiply it by 3, add 1 coming up. So multiply by 3, add 1, and you get 16 thirds. 16 over 3. If you notice, it's 16 over 3 because we took that 5 1/3 and switched it into an improper fraction. Now we get it into this nice, pretty problem that we can solve. You multiply straight across, and you will get 32 over 3. Now, can you stop here? Yes. Yes, you can stop here. Okay. If you want to keep going into a mixed number, as a mixed number, it would be 10 2/3. Again, but you can stop at 32 over 3. All right. Let's see you do a couple. So, multiplying. Oh, let's not see you do a couple because you don't have to write this one down. There's no yellow bar. I know, sad face, I understand. But I want to show you something. Now, in this problem, okay, notice we have numerators, we have denominators. Now what we're going to do is multiply. Okay, if you want, again, I'm going to show two ways to do this. Okay, the very first way is multiplying straight across. If you multiplied straight across, we would get 6 over 56, because 6 times 1 is 6, 8 times 7 is 56. Now, remember, we always need to get things in simplest form. Always. Even though it doesn't say it up here, get it to be simplest form. Write it in simplest form. So, how I would do this is I would divide 6 and 56 by 2. Okay? And I would get 3 over 28. Can I divide any more? No, this would be my final answer. Okay? Now, some of you might be sitting there and be like, Mr. Sheeman, why are you doing it this way? Why don't you do it the other way, the way I know how to do it? Okay? If you want to do it this way, I am fine with that. I am okay with it. I love to see that. At the same time, you can simplify before you multiply. Up here, so this, I'm going to call this number 1. Number 1, we multiplied before we simplified. The second one, which is number 2, we're going to simplify before we multiply. Whichever one you want to do. Okay, if you look at the second one, again, you look at 1/8 and 6/7. If you notice this numerator of 6 and the denominator of 8, they have a common factor. What is their common factor? Well, their common factor is 2. So what we can actually do is we can divide each one by 2. What's 6 divided by 2? 3. 8 divided by 2? 4. Okay? And we simplified a numerator and a denominator, all the numerators and denominators as much as possible. Now what we do is multiply straight across. So we simplified, now we're going to multiply. So 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 7 is 28. These are the exact same answers. It does not matter how you come up with these. If you want to multiply and then simplify, or simplify and then multiply, that does not matter to me. Just make sure you're going through the correct process, whichever way you want to do it. Okay? Let your brain tell you how to do it. All right? So if you understand number 1, do number 1. If you understand number 2, do number 2. I do not require one or the other. Okie dokie, artichoke. I want you to try these 2 problems. However, so you're going to pause now, pause in a second to write it down. Do not forget your rules to multiply positive and negative numbers. Okay, so pause now and do these. All right, so I'm going to show you how to simplify and then multiply. But if you multiplied first and then you simplified, your answer should still be the same. If they are different, see me next time you see me. So talk to me next time you see me. Okay? So the very first thing is I can simplify this 2 and this 2 to multiply those both, divide those both by 2, and that would be 1 and 1. I can simplify 9 and 3, divide both of those by 3, and you get 1 and 3 here. Now, what we do, multiply straight across. So now I have a negative 1 times 3. Negative 1 times 3 is a negative 3. Then I have a 1 times 1, which is 1. My answer is negative 3. Again, I simplified before I multiplied. Next one, I'm going to simplify again. I can simplify these two 7s into negative 1 and 1. Divide both of them by 7. I can simplify negative 4 and 8. Negative 4 becomes 2. Negative 4, silly Mr. Sheeman. Negative 4 becomes negative 1, and 8 becomes 2. So now I take what I have. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 2 times 1, multiply straight across, is 2. So I have 1/2 on one side. Positive 1/2. Don't forget, you took a negative times a negative to get a positive. Okay? Okay. All right. Now with multiplying with decimals, this is the exact same way we would multiply normally, a normal multiplication problem. So I'm going to show you the first one, and then I want you to try the second one on your own. Okay, so the first one, we're going to multiply. What I like to do is I like to put the number with the greatest number of digits on top. So I put 0.51. Okay, and I don't even need to put that 0. I'm just going to put 0.51. And I'm going to multiply that by 2. Okay, because 0.51 has more digits. It has 2 digits versus 1 digit. So I put 0.51 on top. Now, I multiply just like I would. I take 2 times 1, which is 2. Then I take 2 times 5, which is 10. Now, here's the trick. Okay, because I need to place my decimal. And the way you do that is I figure out how many numbers I have behind the decimal. Well, here on top, here's my decimal, this big black dot. Okay, I have 1 digit, 2 digits on top. Where's my decimal on the number 2? Behind, it's behind it, so it's right there. So there are 0 digits behind that decimal point on the second one. So 2 plus 0 is 2. That means in my answer I should have 2 numbers behind the decimal point. Okay, so when I do that, I move my decimal from 102, move it over once, twice, place it. My answer is 1.02. Okay, that's the tricky piece, is figuring out where our decimal goes. So I want you to pause now, try that second one. Ooh, Mr. Sheeman almost forgot about this. Holy buckets, how could he do this? Because you are multiplying a positive 2 by a negative. Positive by a negative, our answer is negative. Oh, that was close. All right, now try the second one. So pause, try that second one. All right, so if you look at this, I'm going to put the one with the greater number of digits on top. So I have 3.75 times 0.4. It has more digits, that 3 digits here. 1 digit. Or you could put that 0 in, but that doesn't hurt at all. Okay. Again, multiply the same way we normally would. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 30. Plus 2 is 32. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 2 is 0. It's 30. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 is 15. Now, where does our decimal point go? Well, we have 2 digits behind the decimal point here. We have 1 digit behind the decimal point here. Add these together, 2 plus 1. We have 3. In our answer, we should have 3 numbers behind the decimal point. 1, 2, 3. Our answer, we have 1.500. You don't need those zeros, that's fine. But remember, negative times a negative is a what? Positivo. So we get a positive 1.5. All right? So don't forget where to place your decimal. All right. Here we go. Please write this down, and I want you to see if you can figure this one out without me explaining it. So I want you to pause now to write it down, and then I want you to try it. I want you just to put something down on your paper. If you're not sure how to do it, put something down and test yourself. Test yourself, see if you can come up with it, all right? So pause and try. Okay, so there's two ways we could do this, all right? One we could add, one we could multiply. So it says Mark runs 1/7 of a mile each and every day. What is the total distance Mark runs in a 5-day week? So not 7 days, 5 days in this week. So we have 5 days, and he's running at 1/7 each day. 1/7 for 5 days. So how could we do this? Well, we could write this out and take 5 times 1/7. What is our denominator on 5? 1. Multiply straight across, and our answer would be 5/7 mile. 5/7 of a mile. Don't forget our label. The other way we could do it is if I have 1/7 each day for 5 days, I could take 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7. You get my drift, plus 1/7, but I'm going to still do it anyways, plus 1/7. Adding straight across, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 5, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 mile. 5/7 of a mile. Okay? Either way, same answer. You could multiply or you could add. Multiplication is just repeated addition. Woohoo! Okay? That's all I have for you today. If you have any questions on multiplying fractions, multiplying decimals, let me know. All right? Have a wonderful day. I will see you later. Bye.